It is time to check in with CTV tech analyst Carmi Levy. We do that every week at this time. Carmi, I wanted to start with the Tim Cook story. I realize it's not a giant tech story, only in the sense that it's not about what's happening in tech, but someone in tech. Tim Cook leaves Apple, right, as its executive chairman, or he's going to become their executive chairman. He leaves as CEO of the company. But the reason I wanted to bring this up was I thought I heard someone say he took over, remember, Steve Jobs, who basically built Apple, right? Tim Cook takes over a $3 billion company, and how much is Apple worth today? $4 trillion.
Yeah, so I mean, this is
not bad.
Yeah, and he turned to Apple. I mean, Apple was successful under Steve Jobs, but it certainly wasn't the global dominating company that it is today. And quite frankly, even before Steve Jobs left, Tim Cook was chief operating officer. He's the guy who figured out supply chains, who built those factories in China that make the iPhones that essentially turned Apple into an industrial powerhouse. So Tim Cook, arguably, he doesn't get as much credit for Apple's current success as he probably should, but we really should look at him favorably. History is going to say, Steve Jobs was the salesperson and the guy everyone paid attention to. Tim Cook was the guy who quietly worked in the background and got it all done.
Or as Donald Trump referred to him as Tim Apple, which I thought was, I remember the day when he met all the CEOs for the tech companies, Tim Apple. The new guy, and I want to get off this, but the new guy basically has also been with the company for like 20 or 25 years. There's not really a lot to be concerned with here, is there?
Not really. And he was and is Tim Cook's protege, so they work very closely together. His name is John Ternus. He started off in 2001 as a product designer. So if you bought a Mac or an iPhone or an Apple Watch or any Apple product, really, it's his design, and he led the teams. He's right now senior vice president, hardware engineering, and so this guy is the ultimate Apple insider. Understands the culture probably better than anyone else at the senior leadership level. And Tim Cook isn't really going away at this point. He is going to become executive chairman. So, he'll still be around to answer questions, and he will be focusing on what they call external relations. So working with political stakeholders, working with the government to make sure that the landscape is clear for Apple, which he's done a really good job of. The economy is kind of in the dumpster, but Apple has been somewhat immune to it because he's figured out how to talk to Washington, talk to political leaders, and kind of keep them off of Apple's back. So, ultimately, I think, John Ternus, he'll continue the work that Tim Cook did. He'll sort of open the doors for Apple to figure out what it's going to be in the AI era, and that's what everyone's watching for as September 1st. That's the big day when the changeover happens, as that day gets closer.
All right, let's talk about something else that's not been talked about a lot lately, but I remember when we were talking smart glasses when they first came out, everybody was, oh, well, look, I can do this. So smart glasses have really, I don't know if you say they've not caught on, but you're noting here that they finally found a warm embrace where?
In South Korea. So the Korea Tourism Organization, they're working with a company called Smart Theater. They're starting a 4-month pilot program to test out AI glasses in theaters. And it sounds really weird because you would think that's the last place you want AI glasses in because they have cameras and people are recording the performances. But no, these are very special AI glasses. They don't have cameras in them, but what they do have is they have AI translation software loaded onto them. So imagine you're watching the production. The production is in Korean, and if you don't speak the language, you get live, real-time translation right in your ears because they have open-ear earphones that are built into the arms of these glasses. You can still hear and see the performance, but even if you're from somewhere else, you don't understand the language, you can still listen to the translation. So it's really more of a tourist thing, but it illustrates kind of one of those really cool use cases for smart glasses. Never really thought that live real-time translation would be a thing, but apparently these glasses make it happen, and they're about to make it happen in Korea.
Okay, there you go. And I'm sure if it works there, this will be something they could roll out everywhere else.
Very much so.
So it's important that we have yet another study, as you note, about how bad AI is for our brains. Yes, let's add to the piling on here. What's the problem now?
Yeah, this comes to us from Oxford, UCLA, MIT, and Carnegie Mellon. Basically what they show is that the more we use AI, the less independent we become. In many cases, those core reasoning-intensive cognitive functions, so think writing, coding, brainstorming new ideas, when we rely too much on AI, we lose the ability to do all of those things on our own. And in fact, the research shows that the longer we use these tools, the more we just didn't even want to bother anymore trying to do it on our own. The numbers are kind of upsetting, and they're saying that it's a relatively small study. They need more research, but it's another example of how when we rely too much on a technology, eventually we lose the ability to do that stuff ourselves.
But if we weren't looking it up on AI, we'd just be looking it up somewhere else, wouldn't we?
We would be, but the thing is, we would still be using our brains to put it together. So we might be using, say, Google, traditional Google searching. We'd have to look through the links. We'd have to read through all of the citations, the reports, the papers, the web pages, whatever. Whereas when you use AI, it does all that for you. It puts the answers together. You don't have to really think as much. And sort of all that cognitive function, we're handing that over to the AI. We don't have to do it as much on our own. That's the problem.
This is really interesting when you say that, because as you describe that, the old days of when we used to look up something and it would give you 20 links, then you'd have to go through them, pick the one that was right because, they weren't all necessarily the ones you wanted. That seems to me didn't involve thinking. It involved waste of time. Tell me where I have to go. Don't give me 10 places, and then I have to go through them to pick the one I should have gone to begin with. So I don't understand why that's bad for our brains. I'm not asking. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah, because when you're looking through, you got that list of links and you're picking which one and you're reading it, you're still using your brain to decide, oh, I like this one, but not that one. This makes more sense. I'm going to discard all the other stuff. Whereas when you use AI, you don't even have to scroll down to the links. If you search in Google these days, you get an AI summary at the top. You don't have to do all of that additional work. In some cases it is a waste of time, but it also keeps our brain sharp. And if we're not doing that additional digging, we lose that sharpness from our
really?
minds.
Okay. You buying that?
I am.
Okay.
Because I use them side by side. I use traditional Google searching and I also use chatbots to try to sort of see the differences between them. And I have to work a lot harder when I'm not allowing a chatbot to do it for me. So I recognize it now. We're starting to see some research that puts some numbers around that.
Okay. Last thing I want to get to, I think I saw part of a video of this. A Chinese android robot just ran a half marathon faster than any human ever has.
Yeah, so the robot is called Lightning. It actually looks really cute. It's about as tall as an average human being, about 1.7 meters. Comes to us from Honor, which is a large Chinese smartphone maker. And it ran the half marathon in just under 50 and a half minutes, which is about 6 minutes faster than the world record held by Ugandan runner Jacob Kiplino. And what's scary is it was 20 minutes faster than the next fastest runner in this particular event. What's interesting is a year ago, this very same event, they also had robots there, and they were so bad then that they had human minders who had to run next to them and pick them up when they stumbled. And so there were lots of, kind of hilarious videos that went viral. Now here we are a year later, and this thing is running faster than a human. And so it shows just how fast robotics and artificial intelligence are advancing in China. And we know that the Chinese government has said they want to be a world leader in this technology. They're gunning for the U.S. And so it looks like a really cool sports thing, but in reality, it's China drawing a line in the sand and saying they want to be a technological superpower. And it looks like they're advancing faster than just about any other country on the planet.
Did I hear Elon Musk say yesterday, I know Tesla had its earnings call, get into this whole thing with robotics? That seems to be where his focus is now as well.
Yeah, so there's a robot called Optimus, which Tesla makes, and Elon Musk has said that he wants that to be their next major line of business. It incorporates a lot of the software that we've already seen in Tesla vehicles, so things like autopilot and full self-driving. A lot of the AI that goes into that, we're starting to see it being deployed in those robots as well. So, you could have a Tesla talking to your robot. In fact, maybe you can put the robot in the Tesla and it will drive it. But, again, just an illustration of where robotics is going. And Elon Musk has made it very clear. He wants to lead that next big thing in the consumer space. Today we buy smartphones. Tomorrow we'll buy robots. He wants to make sure that robot is a Tesla.
Kind of crazy. And I thought I saw a number like $25 billion that they're going to invest in this. I mean, he has the money or Tesla has the money. It's this is where we're going, isn't it?
It is. And, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
I mean, I've spent most of my life waiting for the Jetsons to come true. So,
Yeah,
maybe for anyone else who was kind of holding their breath and hoping that, maybe Rosie the robot is going to become a reality in our lifetime. But I think robotics will take on many different forms. Right now, the world's most popular robot is the iRobot. It's the Roomba. So, which doesn't look like the robot from sci-fi.
Yeah.
So, robotics will take many forms. Artificial intelligence is sort of really part of that process. You can't have a workable robot with a really great AI software. And so the two of them go hand in hand. And certainly, the good news is Canada is a world leader in developing that software, developing that AI capability. So, maybe within a few years when we buy a robot, a lot of the software that drives it could very well come from Canada.
By the way, I love that you would like, or you're waiting for Rosie the robot. I'm waiting for my briefcase to turn into my car and then turn back into my briefcase when I get to where I'm going. That's when we get there. I know we've made headway. So
Maxwell Smart would be so proud.
Wouldn't he though?
I'm right there with you.
There you go. Carmi Levy, our CTV tech analyst. Carmi, thank you.
The newest tracks. Let's go. New music. And the next big thing.
Always on the new music first.
Your first place to hear it all.
'Cause you gon' like it, love it, wanna play it twice. Playing now.
iHeart New Music. Your digital station for brand new drops, fresh finds, and tomorrow's bangers.
I think we need something new.
Discover iHeart New Music. Always fresh, always first. Stream now on the free iHeartRadio app.